Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to driver ratings, and sorry it's a day late. It was my fault. Was feeling a bit under the weather yesterday, but back on it today, so we can give you the ratings of the drivers from the Portuguese GP, the first ever Formula One race at Portimao, and was a very good track. Loved the track.
I enjoyed just watching the onboards, really. Even if there wasn't much happening on track at certain times, just enjoyed watching the cars go.
I think the first half of the race was very good.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the race just kind of
fizzled out a little bit.
It fizzled for now. But anyway, for those of you, this may be your first time watching driver ratings, or I don't know what's going on, or you just need a reminder. Sorry, I was going to say go into something, but I just got into a thing and I was like...
Just say what you need to say.
No idea. So, driver ratings. I'm going to explain what that is.
Okay, just go.
What we do is we give the drivers on the grid a rating out of 10 for their race performance in Sunday's race. I'm sorry, I
thought that was the easy part.
Oh, I thought it was. And now it's still back to me because we're going to start. And we're going to start with... AlphaTauri, because DANIIL KVYAT finished dead last.
Yes.
Couldn't find any reasons why I went wrong. I may have missed it during the race of what went wrong, considering that Pierre finished P5. There was clearly pace in that AlphaTauri. So I presume something went wrong. So we're going to give DANIIL KVYAT the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10.
Yep.
Pierre Gasly, on the other hand, 10 out of 10.
Yep. Probably driver of the day.
Probably driver of the day.
AlphaTauri in P5 or merit.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, we'll come to a guy later on.
Yep.
Probably a
another
candidate.
Guy getting the most out of his car.
But Pierre Gasly, what a fantastic performance from him. Some brilliant overtakes in there. Right tyre choice at the end on those medium compounds as PEREZ will get onto him. Unfortunately, stitched up by strategy again. It never seems to have gone right for him in 2020.
Nope.
And... well, of course it's not gone right because he's out of a seat in 2021. But yes, AlphaTauri there. 5 out of 10 for DANIIL KVYAT. Pierre Gasly, 10 out of 10. Nice and easy. Gasly, what performance?
Bam. On to Williams. Latifi not dead last, just second to dead last, I guess.
It means that Williams aren't the last team to be announced again, so that's good.
Yeah, fair enough. But every single time we never see them in the race. I don't know how well he drives. It's a terrible car. So just a 6 out of 10. But George, on the other hand...
because George has got 14th. Latifi's got 18th.
Yeah, but George has qualified in 14th, hasn't he?
Yeah, very true.
And Latifi's actually gained position.
Technically.
From
a retirement.
Well, and from... he did qualify last. So he gained 2 positions. Oh.
Unbelievable. What a performance.
That's why he gets a 6.
6 out of 10.
George, P14, started P14, finished P14. It's got to be like an 8 out of 10 for George.
I think so.
Yeah.
To keep that Williams ahead of both Hasses and the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yeah, quality drive from him. But didn't see much. Terrible car, but 8 out of 10.
And that's... swiftly, I mean, these guys at the back often are kind of like whew, quick through. Do you see that? There was just cars flying by.
Wow, incredible,
amazing. People are gonna be like, "What? I'm on one today. Maybe I don't feel better today. Maybe I'm delirious." I'm going, can't you see the cars?
No,
they're going. There's no cars. Anyway, Haas. Roman Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, they're out. They're dumped. Obviously, we'll get
good riddance.
Oh, all right. Harsh.
Joking.
Katie, do not send hate messages in the comments down below.
They're both incredible drivers that have just found themselves first seat. I think Grosjean was done, but Kevin Magnussen's the unlucky one.
Yeah.
That there isn't any seat he can go to, and he hasn't got the money to stay at Haas. So.
Exactly. it's a toughie for both of them. Obviously, we'll talk about that more in depth on the F1 podcast this week. We'll have a special guest from Upshift F1, Zach from there, coming on and talking about the Grosjean and Magnussen situation. So make sure you tune into tomorrow, 2 days episode. Sorry, everything's thrown back a day. I'm confused. I'm all over the place. It comes. But anyway, Roman Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, terrible car, bit of a thing. Kevin Magnussen finished ahead of his teammate, so he gets 6 out of 10, and Roman Grosjean gets 5 out of 10. I think that's the best way to kind of judge Haas.
Job done.
Boom, out the way.
Alfa Romeo. I'll start with Giovinazzi. Finished. Where did he finish? P15. He had a great race in Nürburgring, didn't he? Because he finished
in the points.
In the points, he finished 10th, didn't he? And so it was like, and then we've had the rumours this week that he's keeping his seat. Would he pull in a big performance again? And no. P15 is a bit of a mare race. I'm going to go, you could go 5 out of 10, but I'm going to go 6 out of 10. It's a terrible car. I don't want to rate too harshly. But Kimi Räikkönen, on the other hand, if you haven't already, just watch that first lap. Just watch that first lap replay. It's incredible. He was flying through the pack. And now for Romeo, going all the way to P4, I think he got up to. Then he went back to P5. And then DRS came into effect and he was out the points. But yes, Kimi Räikkönen. I'm going to go, where did he finish in the end?
P11.
P11, just outside.
I think if he finished in the points, it was a 10 out of 10. I think it's a 9 out of 10. He was incredible. The on-track action, like his fight with Carlos Sainz, was unreal. Yeah. And that first lap alone probably deserves a 9 out of 10.
Yep. The first lap was incredible. 17th to 5th or 4th.
Incredible. Kimi! Okay, so we move on to... that's Alfa Romeo done.
Yep.
God, it's on a high and then down to Lando Norris. P13, bit unlucky because Lance Stroll decided he would go, I'm taking the racing line. I'm still here, Stroll. I don't care. Bam, spun out, still managed to finish the race. Considering he went to the back and worked his way up, I think it's still a pretty impressive performance. It's difficult to judge.
Because he had a slow puncture as well later on.
Yeah.
After they put fresh tyres on, he then got another slow puncture.
Yeah. I'm going to give Lando a 7 out of 10. I think that's probably a fair assumption. Finishing 13th with everything that happened within the race. I know it's no points and losing to teammate Carlos Sainz, but obviously things worked against him in the race.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a fair assumption.
Yeah.
To put him 7 out of 10. Carlos, on the other hand, P6. That's pretty solid. It's a classic Carlos position, isn't it? Of like 2019, P6, P5.
Yeah.
That was Carlos. And he again, for me, kind of snuck under the radar. He just, was on the right tyre compound to overtake Perez at the end, like Gasly was as well. Tyre is still being hello, Tyre. But yeah, probably an 8 out of 10.
Well, yeah, remember he jumped into the lead at the start.
And it
was like, oh my God, the McLarens are here. McLarens are going to win the race. Look how quick they are. And then the soft tyres went and it was like, McLarens have no place.
For everyone who's watched our Motorsport Manager career, we're like, they predicted the future. We predicted this. But no, yeah. But yeah, probably, I don't think it's 9 out of 10. That start was brilliant. And we always say the McLarens are a great car at the start of a Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And then they seem to drop off.
And then reality hits.
Yeah. So, yeah, 8 out of 10 for Carlos Sainz. Yep. I still think very strong performance from him.
Yeah. And now on to Red Bull with Alex Albon in P12. Normally this is you.
No, you
but
get both.
I get Albon this week.
You get both the big boys this week.
How exciting. Albon, I don't see a single positive from this race. There were no battles on track to go, look at those overtaking skills. It was a sloppy start, which basically was all the problems.
Mm.
Looked like he had no race pace. Any
But
more
it's
do
the
I need to
car,
list off? It got
Stephen.
lapped by Max Verstappen. I can't see any positives, so I'm going to have to go 1 out of 10. I can't give anything higher because I have nothing to base that on.
Wow.
Outside the points, I know people's argument is that second Red Bull isn't as quick as a Racing Point or a Renault or McLaren, but you should still be in the top 10.
Also, right, that's just a theory.
Yeah.
We have no idea whether that, and what makes you think that Red Bull, a team who has a bigger budget than Racing Point, Renault and McLaren, have decided who want constructors' points, to go, right, we'll put everything into one car and our second car is going to be slower than all those three other teams. How does that logically make sense other than you desperately want Alex Albon to do well? Like, I don't know where this theory has come from.
Yeah.
In terms of, there is no evidential proof of it. The proof is Red Bull promoted 2 inexperienced drivers and they're performing like 2 inexperienced drivers would within a top team, because it's a big step up going from a midfield car and doing all right, which Albon and Gasly both did well in their Toro Rosso time, to going at a high pressure team competing for race wins and podiums at the front of the grid. There's a big step up in there, and neither driver was ready for that time. Alex Albon proves again that he's not ready for it. It's harsh on the kid, because he had 6 months in F1 and he isn't. There's no beating around the bush. Alex Albon isn't a Max Verstappen. He's not a Charles Leclerc. He's not a Lewis Hamilton. He's
an Alex Albon.
He's an Alex Albon. So yeah, 1 out of 10. It may seem really harsh, but like I said, there were no positives from the race at all for him.
No.
Nothing.
If there was, I would have given him a few more points, but I can't think of anything that would boost his score. Max Verstappen, on the other hand, P3, had a bit of a slow start on those softs. You thought maybe he could have taken the lead, like Carlos Sainz flew off. Maybe Max should have capitalised on those quicker softs at the start. Other than that, and then you get to do a bit of fuel management during the race. I got to go 9. I can't go any higher or less. Because I know you go P3 is basically a race win for Max because the Mercedes are so far ahead. But the race start, I feel like he should have capitalised a bit more, put a bit more pressure on those Mercedes if he flies into the lead.
Essentially, though, he was on the soft compound, wasn't he?
Yes.
So his race was stuffed from the start.
Yeah.
The only way he was ever going to have any chance of competing is if he could match Mercedes on compounds.
Well, yeah, or if he had an incredible start and got like a 5-second lead in front, and maybe he could have done something. But he just got stuck.
Yeah.
There you go. 1 for
Max.
Albon, 9 for Max.
So that moves us on to Ferrari. God, 2 big boys. These guys you'd usually be talking about third and second going into, potentially first sometimes, going into the last segment of the video.
Well, they should be, but they're teammates.
Adele! Seb Vettel, I don't really know where to judge this one. He's got points, had a poor weekend. Again, Charles Leclerc has finished P4.
He's got points.
I think you've just got to compare it to your teammate like Alexander Albon. Hey, he's got a point that Ferrari's worse than the Red Bull. 4 out of 10 for Seb?
Yes, probably. I think Seb's even come out and said, I don't know how Leclerc's doing it. So he's basically saying Leclerc's doing an incredible job. So maybe it's like a 3. But yeah, 3 or 4. It wasn't a great day. When the Ferrari had the pace.
Yeah. Seeming as you've been harsh on Albon, we want to keep this fair across the board. Yeah. Let's go 3 for Seb.
Yeah.
Not a good day at the office for Mr. Vettel. And his teammate, like Singh just said, doesn't know how he's doing it. Incredible job. P4 on merit. Massive gap between P5, 10 out of 10. Charles Leclerc. In, like, low key. And I don't think Charles Leclerc... I'm going to big up Charles Leclerc here. Because I don't think... Because we've all been like, Ferrari's rubbish, Ferrari's thing. This man's got like 2 podiums this year. A few other P4s in there as well. He made 2 or 3 other P4s. He's had an incredible season considering where that Ferrari is.
Yeah.
Compared to, you know, its rivals. And his qualifying performances at times have been unreal to kind of get him higher up the grids. And it was something like Mugello, he kept like falling back, didn't he?
We thought it was going to be the same here. But no.
No, he actually fought and he maintained P4. And I know Ferrari are bringing upgrades and improving the car. But still, like, I don't think the upgrades could have been that huge of a leap forward from where that Ferrari was. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. Unbelievable drive from Charles Leclerc. Like, incredible.
Yeah, probably the other contender for driver of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that Ferrari done.
Yep.
So Renault's now P9 and P8, wasn't it, for both of them?
Yep.
For Ricciardo and Ocon. Bit disappointing, I think, for Renault. I think after the hype of their first podium last race, it was on a high. We thought Renault would come to Portugal and smash it again, but just didn't have the pace. Didn't have the race pace whatsoever. They tried to go, I think they were thinking of a 2-stop with Ricciardo, then changed it into a 1-stop, but it was just...
Do you think it was just a little bit unstable? Obviously, Ricciardo had that crash in Q2.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And so that knocks your confidence a little bit on the track. And it was very... I think it's a track you had to be confident on to be quick on. And Ocon, for once, took advantage of qualifying outside in Q2, of being on that harder compound at the start, and he drove a really good first stint. And, you know, it was fantastic that he beat Daniel Ricciardo on merit.
On merit, yeah. But they both made up positions. I kind of want to give them both 7s. I don't think you could say Ocon an 8 because he's beaten Ricciardo, but I don't think he's finished P8. Maybe that's the best he could have done. I'll go 8 for Ocon because he's been his teammate after a year so far that he's struggled to do that at all. So to do it on merit, I'll give him an 8. Ricciardo 7.
Nice. Good. That moves us on to Racing Point. Easy one out the way. Lance Stroll, as usual, we are DNFs. We kind of give them no rating. So Stroll is a no rating. But obviously, weekend... he struggled with a little bit of awareness on the car on the inside, not allowing enough racing room. Stuffed Lando's race, stuffed his own race, eventually leading to that retirement in the end. And
it was, if you watched practice, FP2, there was an instant you could check out the replays where Max was coming up on the inside, exact same corner, first corner. They were both on flying laps. Max obviously didn't realise Lance had doing 2 flying laps in a row. And then Lance did the exact same thing to Max. And just cull him up. And he did the exact same thing with Lando. Thought he would have learnt his lesson a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if you go, oh, Max is to blame on that, he should still allow more room.
But you can definitely say that if there is one driver on the grid who would not like a return to Portimao next season, it would be Lance Stroll, because he received a 5-second penalty for the Lando Norris crash. He received a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits an excessive amount of times.
Yep.
And he retired from the race.
Yep.
But, you know, he had COVID. He was recovering, and we saw Checo wasn't quite the same. The race after, he had a weekend out of the car, a weekend to get back into it. Probably not the weekend you want to kind of get back into it in terms of a totally new track, new things on the car. I think, again, it just, it probably wasn't an ideal weekend for Lance Stroll to come back in.
Although I just remembered, as you mentioned penalties, Grosjean and KVYAT also had penalties. We didn't mention that earlier, but they also got excessive track limit time penalties.
Yeah, so it was a difficult track. There were a lot of times deleted, actually.
Yeah. I think OCON was close to penalty as well. Yeah.
Crazy. And that would obviously brought Ocon's rating down. But he avoided it. But Sergio Perez, on the other hand, hit by Max early doors. That kind of stuffed him up. Had to go onto the mediums early, went deep into it. Magnificent recovery drive, working his way back into the points. Looked like P5 was on the cards, but because the team put him on the soft compound later on in the race, where everyone else went onto the medium compound, which obviously Perez could have done as he started the race on the softs. I don't know if he had another set of mediums available. I would assume so. I assume they don't have just one set of mediums.
Well, they could have even gone on to hards.
Well, yeah.
Because the Mercedes were doing fine on the hards.
Absolutely. Basically a tyre compound that wouldn't have given up on him at the end, that lost him 2 positions to Gasly and Sainz. Again, just Racing Point not quite getting Sergio Perez's strategy right in a race, which is so confusing as a team and driver who know each other so well.
Yeah.
But maybe they overestimated Perez's tyre conserving abilities that are usually so good.
Yeah.
On that front. But I think it's an 8 out of 10 for Sergio.
Yeah.
It could have been a 9 because I think it was a great recovery drive and falling down to 7th wasn't his fault.
P5 to P7 in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. Same as Carlos Sainz. Both had high moments, but not quite enough to get the higher rating.
Yes. So on to
Mercedes.
Mercedes left, yeah.
Yep, rounding up.
Jump all the way up. So another Mercedes 1-2, of course. We predicted it, and yeah, it was a. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'll just jump into it. Valtteri Bottas, like Alex Albon, I struggled to find positives with his race, although there are some. Obviously, he made a move on Lewis for the race lead on lap 1. It was looking great. He went flying off, and then didn't manage his tyres again. Lost the lead to Lewis, and then didn't manage his tyres on any of the stints. Never had the pace, and ended up an embarrassingly 20 odd seconds off. I think it was like 25 seconds plus in the end off Lewis Hamilton, which is an absolute joke. In a Mercedes, same car, same strategy, and he finished 25 seconds off Lewis. But the only other positive is he has finished second, so it's finished way minimum he should be finishing. So there's 2 positives there. I kind of go a 3 out of 10. I want to give him a 2, but I say 2 positives, so 3 out of 10. 25 seconds though, that is...
He's gone. He's mentally gone now. He's checked out. He knows the championship's gone. He's checked out the year. He's just like, get the car home. Manage the gap to Max.
It shouldn't be that way though. You should be going for race wins every week to set yourself up for 2021. So there's not an excuse. It's a terrible drive. Terrible form at the moment. He should have capitalised on that race win. Especially in Sochi,
as he looks so strong. I think what compounds it and makes it a 3 out of 10 is up until Q3, he'd led every single session at Portimao.
Yeah, but we've seen this before.
Yeah, well, exactly.
He does it all the time.
No, exactly. But, he was leading. So he's clearly comfortable with the track.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse. It's just his management of the tyres is not as good as Lewis.
No.
And Lewis may just be absolutely god tier level tyre management, and he is very good at the tyre management. But yeah, he just finds performance out of the car where Valtteri can't.
It's like Valtteri took the lead and then was like, this is my opportunity, I just need to floor it, but then completely lost all the performance. It's like he got a bit overexcited, like, oh, I'm winning! And then fluffed it.
Yeah.
But Lewis, on the other hand, P1, he lost the lead at the start, but as we said, superb tyre management, always had the pace, finished 25 seconds ahead of a car on the same strategy, same spec. 10 out of 10. I can't give him much lower than that.
And breaks the record
Yes.
of most Grand Prix wins ever in Formula One.
Bang.
Hugely impressive, that. We'll obviously talk about that a little bit more in the F1 podcast coming out on Thursday this week. But yeah, that's it from driver ratings today. Let us know. Obviously, there's been some very low ratings in there and some high ratings as well. So let us know.
Is that the first one we've given?
I think so. I think you've given our first one to Alexander Albon.
It had to be him, didn't it?
Well, considering that Red Bull have basically gone, he's got 2 races to fight for his seat.
Yeah.
There just seemed no fight. He's got nothing. He's got no answers to it. I mean, he's finished behind a Ferrari of Vettel and KIMI, the Alfa Romeo. And made no progress.
And a lap down on his teammate.
Yeah. Right, sorry, we'll stop the album bashing. Like I said, poor kid, promoted too early, and he's just shown that he's desperately out of his depth. Anyway, that is it for driver ratings. Let us know in the comments down below what your ratings are. Do you agree, disagree with our ratings? We'd love to hear, as always, chatting about your comments and ratings below. And if you're new around here or haven't done so already, Stephen, what can they do?
You can like, subscribe, and ding that bell.
Ding it! But that's it from us today, guys. So for now, you F1 fans, keep racing.